for the fury of those who are oppressed.
Oppressed people's nation. I'm only here for the people.
Tell us a little bit about what the Panthers doing in Atlanta, Georgia.
We're doing
what y'all doing?
We're doing everything.
Don't just tell me about y'all doing it big.
We're doing it big.
When you're doing stuff, you can tell me something.
I mean, you
what
know,
y'all doing? What y'all doing as far as education?
Oh, as far as education, we're doing twofolds in education. I think one of the first thing that we're doing on education is we're going into the schools. Yeah. We're seeing about the community taking over that curriculum again. You know, trying to get that relation, that correlation between schools and community, teachers and community, and things, parents and schooling. That's the big thing. But our primary objective is to open up a liberation school. We understand, it's just like it states in our 10-point platform, that we understand that we want an education that teaches us the true nature of this decadent society. You know what I'm saying? That teaches us the true role of the black man and the black woman in this decadent society we play. So that's our overall objective, is to open up liberation schools and start educating our own.
Okay. So you guys have a 501c3?
No. We don't rely on any government funds, any support. We're self-determinists. Okay. We believe that as a black people, as a nation of people, we have to lift ourselves up. The person he who gives the gold makes the rules. You understand? So we don't allow handouts or any of that from anybody but ourselves. We're self-determinists.
Okay. So how is crime in your area?
Terrible.
Well, what y'all doing about it?
Crime is terrible. I think that, you know, that's the question. We're doing crime. We're not coming in to take the role of the police.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So the way to do crime is to educate.
Okay.
So this is, we have to, I think crime is relative. You know what I'm saying? It's what they call crime. And then when we go to what they're defining as crime, also we look at the social economic situation that's leading up to this alleged crime that they're talking about. I mean, you know, being a Muslim, I'm reminded of the story of one of the Islamic leaders. His name was Abu Bakr. And Abu Bakr, the rule in Islam is when you steal over a certain amount, they cut off your hand. But this particular leader knew that the conditions for the people were bad. It was a famine, no food was growing, and a righteous man had stolen. And so Abu Bakr had waived what's called the hudud. He had waived the punishment of cutting the hand because he knew the brother was a righteous brother. He knew the man was a good man. He had a family and everything. And he knew that under his leadership, the economic condition of Mecca at that particular time wasn't the best, that had forced this particular person to go into stealing. It's like what the beautiful brother Larry was saying on the earlier show. When we look at why people are hungry, they're not hungry because of lack of food. They're not homeless because of lack of shelter, you know, and things of this nature. But it's this capitalistic society, this imperialistic society, you know what I'm saying, that plays the class card. And to me, and I have to say that the class and the race card, a lot of times in a lot of areas, are synonymous. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're one and the same in a lot of times, in a lot of aspects. So I think that when we talk about crime, you know, it's one thing to say crime, but my whole thing in the Panther Party in Atlanta, we're saying what leads up to this crime. You see, the Panther Party in Atlanta, we understand one thing. We understand that there's a system and there's a structure. The system is what? Their values, more ways, no ways, holidays, and all of this. The structures are the police departments, the fire departments, the school buildings, the teachers that implement and enforce the system. Well, we as New Black Panther Parties in Atlanta, we're saying we have to become a parallel structure. We believe in revolutionary tactics. We're not reformists. We don't believe they're going into the system and trying to reform anything. That's not going to work. That's not going to help us. So we believe in revolutionary tactics. We believe that it has to be a complete overhaul and complete change of the system. You know, when people say revolutionary tactics, brother, what are you going to do? You going to go overrun? No. We follow the advice of Ernesto Che Guevara, who said that where there's, in any country where there's the semblance of a democracy, you know, whether it's democracy or not, whether it's the semblance of a democracy, armed revolution is not the first, it should not be the first resort. Why? Because when you have the people thinking that they have voted their leadership in, when you talk about overthrowing the leadership, they don't look at you overthrowing the leadership, they think you're overthrowing them. So it always goes back to what my father always says, and he constantly tells me, he says, political education. It's like what I see the picture of Deputy Chair Fred Hampton up there, and he said, politics is everything, and everything is politics.
Yeah. Well, now tell us this: if you could make if the new Black Panther Party in Atlanta could make a difference in lives here in Cleveland, what could you contribute?
I think the new Black Panther Party, if we could contribute anything to Cleveland, honestly, my opinion, and a lot of times it's hard to say these things because the chairman of Cleveland is also my father, but I think the first thing that I would do was just tell my soldiers to fall in line with their chairman.
Okay.
You know, that would be the first thing I'd do. One of the things that we do is the Black Panther Party, new Black Panther Party. There's no borders, but we're not foolish. I understand that the chairman here in the new Black Panther Party in Cleveland has assessed the situation in Cleveland. It would be foolish of us to come from Atlanta to think that we can come up here and to do anything different. Our problem in Atlanta is a lot different than the problem in Cleveland, where in Cleveland you actually have white police officers beating people. You know, in Atlanta you don't have that problem. In Atlanta we're dealing with neocolonialism. If I go down there and tell them, I'm the white man this, the white man that, he'll say, wait a minute, man, this nigga beat my ass. He's the cop. This judge sentenced me to life. He's the cop. I don't see these white people you talking about where they at because Atlanta's predominantly black. You know what I'm saying? So our thing is neocolonialism. Our whole strategy down in Atlanta has to be, our primary thing has to be education, 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 political education, political education. What is capitalism? What is, this is why I'm so impressed to meet the brother from Fist. I had a book that I got from Sharon, actually. It's a great book. I wish we had it, and it's very, you know, it's basic, and it breaks down these words. Imperialism, communism, socialism, colonialism, neocolonialism. These are the first things that I think that us as a people, we have to really start learning. We have to learn what's going on with us, what's happening in with us, and then we have to stop being a frightened people.